Hell of a Book is the story of an author who goes on book tour. And as he is on book tour, he discovers not only himself, but the reality of being Black in America. So for me, it was important with this novel to bring to light the discussion of what it means to be Black in America, and also what it means to be a Black artist in America. Hell of a Book follows the story of a writer who is trying to exist as a writer, who also happens to be Black. And that is a very complicated dynamic to kind of be in at any point in your career. And that was one of the topics that I felt wasn't quite being discussed, the pressure that is put upon Black creatives and Black artists to always talk about the Black existence as opposed to simply talking about their humanity and their human existence. And Hell of a Book struggles with that back and forth because the minority artists, whether they be Black, whether they be LGBTQ or any type of minority, they will always be caught in that position where they are forced to decide between talking about their humanity and their human existence versus talking about their particular label's existence and being the Black author or the female author or the LGBTQ author or the Hispanic author or whatever it is. It is a dichotomy that is always forced upon minority authors, minority artists, and is one that will never go away. And so I felt that that was an important topic to talk about, in addition to the larger topics of policing and police violence against minorities and just the Black experience itself in America. All of these topics went into the making of Hell of a Book, and hopefully readers enjoy that. I would say it wasn't so much a decision that I made so much as it was a circumstance that was kind of forced upon me. Quite frankly, I had reached a point where I was tired of not talking about these topics. I was tired of seeing the news reports and just encountering the life that I was living and not seeing anyone else talk about the subject in the way that I would talk about it. And that's a very classic phenomenon. We always want someone else to say the thing that we want to say, as opposed to us stepping into the limelight and finding the courage and the ability to say it ourselves. And so for me, I avoided this type of story because I was waiting for someone else to tell this story in the way that I would tell it, and no one did. And so I finally resolved myself to just saying that I am going to be the person to tell the story the way that I would tell it. And that was when I had no choice but to write the novel. Because I am a massive Nic Cage fan. I have been for decades at this point. The first true remembrance I have of Nic Cage is watching Raising Arizona decades ago. I was a big Coen Brothers fan, and here was a film that had Coen Brothers and Nic Cage, and I fell in love with him at that point and just kept following his career and began to understand just how brilliant of an actor he actually is. So there are many people who are Nic Cage fans kind of ironically. I am not one of those people. I am a Nic Cage fan through and through. I think he's one of the most brilliant actors that we have working today. Honestly, I think every reader's reaction has surprised and moved me. As I was writing this book, and this is the part where few people actually believe this when I tell them this, but when I was writing Hell of a Book, I really thought it was my great failure. I told multiple friends as I was working on it that this would be the novel that no one will ever buy because it's too strange. It's about an author who is daydreaming perpetually. It's talking about race. It's got comedic events. It opens with an author running naked through a hallway in a hotel room. It has Nic Cage in it, of all people. There's this massive melting pot of non-related topics and non-related events and characters, and they just felt as though they were just mashing together. And I just knew that it would be the odd duck, that I would take it to my agent. My agent would say, oh, that's cute, but no. Or maybe we would get further than that. Maybe we would take it and shop it somewhere, and no one would ever buy it, though. And then, all of a sudden, it gets bought, it gets published, it becomes a book club, it wins the National Book Award, and readers encounter the book, and people contact me to say how much they loved it, how much it impacted them, how it was the book that they had been looking for so much of their lives. And every one of those interactions are completely amazing to me because, again, this was going to be the book that failed and went to the back of my closet and that I alone knew about and I alone loved, and suddenly there are thousands upon thousands of people who are encountering it and loving it just as much as I do. So that blows me away daily.